You are welcome to this lecture on a topic, professionalism in teaching profession. The topic is professionalism in teaching profession. And the presenter is my humble self, Vincent Chidindo Asogwa from the Department of Agricultural Education and Extension, Faculty of Agriculture, University of Eswatini. Our topic today is professionalism in teaching profession. And I want to start with this illustration. If you look at this picture, you see a Pepsi soft drink here. And our first question is, what is the Pepsi in this soft drink? What is the Pepsi? Now, is it the container that is the Pepsi? Is it the content? Is it the name that is just written on it, Pepsi soft drink? Or is it the logo? Is it just ordinarily the color? Or is it the table on which this Pepsi was placed before the picture? Or is it the time of production? Is it the time the content has stayed in this container? Or is it the manufacturer that is the Pepsi? Now that will take us to what we are asking. Is the Pepsi, now we are looking at whatever is the Pepsi in this container is the professionalism. Whatever is the Pepsi in this Pepsi soft drink is the professionalism. And you will agree with me that the Pepsi in this Pepsi soft drink is the content. It is not the container. It is not the logo. It is not the name. It is never the color. Neither is it the time of production or the manufacturer, but the content. That is why if you remove this content from this container and put it in another can, whoever takes it and has ever tested the Pepsi, we know, if not accurately, will suspect or assume that the content is Pepsi. Meaning that even if you have this container and put water in it, whoever takes the water will tell you that this container is containing a content that is not known to be Pepsi content. So professionalism is not the content, it is not the profession, it is the display, it is the content of the profession. Let us get it clear. This container, as you see it, Pepsi, is the profession. The content in this Pepsi is the professionalism. It is very clear. The Pepsi with the logo, the brand name, the copyright ownership, the Pepsi written on it, the container, the table, all about all those things are the profession. But the content is the professionalism. So if the content is not Pepsi in taste, it means the professionalism is not professionalism. And that will take us to where we are going. Now, what is professionalism? What is professionalism? Generally, profession is any type of job or occupation that needs a high level of education, special training, or skill. So, any job you are not trained, you are not educated in any form, you don't have any special training, you don't have any special skill in it, anyone can do it. It's not a profession. There was a time people argued that there should be a length of time at which someone should be trained in a particular occupation for it to be called a profession. Some suggested 5 years, and at the end, it could not stand because there are some occupations that one may be trained within 3 months, 2 years, 1 year, or thereabout, and this person can exhibit professionalism in that occupation. So the length of time could not stand. It could not be used, but you must be trained with special skills for it to be called a profession. Now, of course, we are trained in teaching, minimum of 4 years or minimum of 3 years for those in colleges of education. Now, that shows that teaching is a profession. There's no doubt about that. Now, what is the professionalism in teaching? That is where we are going. And we want to tell you that professionalism in teaching profession is a display or demonstration of competence. It is a demonstration or display of competence in teaching. Now, what is this competence? The competence we are talking about is the knowledge, the skills, and attitude. They must be complete. If you have the knowledge, you don't have the skill, you cannot demonstrate for people to see. And whatever you have in the brain, you are not able to put it into practice for observability, for people to observe it. You have not achieved much. And if you can even, you have the knowledge, you have the skill, you can put it on table for people to see, you can display, yet you don't have any passion for what you are doing, you don't have the attitude. You cannot display professionalism in that aspect. So we tell you in teaching profession that professionalism is a demonstration of the competence by a trained teacher, meaning that you must be trained. You don't just come from anywhere. You must pass through the teacher education program for you to display professionalism in teaching profession. So professionalism is a demonstration of competence by a trained teacher to students in a subject. Example is agriculture in a school system. It's very important we note the major issues or the major concern in professionalism in teaching profession. One is demonstration. People must observe it. People must feel it. People must test whatever you have. And what you have should be in area of knowledge. It should be an area of skill. It should be an area of attitude. For you to demonstrate that, you must be a trained teacher. You must be trained. And you don't just demonstrate it to the villagers or demonstrate it to the people in the urban area, in the market or in the hospital. You demonstrate it to the students, the learners who wish to learn, who have presented themselves to learn. And it must be in a specific area. Jack of all trade, you'll be master of none. It must be in a specific area. Example is chemistry, biology, or agriculture, or mathematics, or any other subject. And it must be in an organized system, which is a school system, because you will have a goal that you are targeting, which will be where you are demonstrating whatever competence towards for achievement. Now, professionalism is not the job you do. It is not just teaching as a profession. It is how you do the job. It is the activities. It is the process. It is the actions in the teaching. So it is not just the job you do as a teacher. It is how you do your teaching. Professionalism involves consistency, consistently achieving high standard. You don't just come today, run into the school system, achieve and run into business and start jumping up. For 3 years or 5 years, you come back to that system. No, there must be consistency in high achievement, whether visible or invisible. Those that are observed in the class and those that are not observed in the class. Those that are even behind the scene. Those that are contained in the curricula and those that are not contained in the curricula. Whatever role you play in that teaching as a profession. So being a professional teacher means having high level of mastery. Having high level of mastery. Mastery here is mastering the area of knowledge, skills, and attitude, values. Confidence and teaching students. Having high level of mastery in the subject and the pedagogical, and having confidence, and also teaching students what you know, not for self-promotion, not just for people to start clapping hands for you, or for you to score, to have a score, for you to be promoted, but to help yourself and help others succeed. In teaching profession, you are there to help yourself emotionally, psychologically, economically, and socially. That you are there to help yourself, but also to help others to succeed. So don't be distracted. You have to be focused that your target is to help others succeed. That is the bone of teaching profession. And that is the professionalism in teaching profession. Now, we have 10 components of professionalism in teaching profession. What are those things that make up the components? What are those things? Because you cannot just go and pick professionalism. Now, I will take you back. If you look at this and you know that there is a content here, what makes up this content is not just water. Water will be there, sugar will be there, and some other ingredients that make it up. What are these ingredients that make up the Pepsi? That is the components of the Pepsi. And that is the components of professionalism. So that is where we are now. What are those things that make up professionalism? Some call it characteristics, some call it features of professionalism. But here, we look at it as components of professionalism. When you remove them from teaching profession, you will not have professionalism in that profession. When you remove these components, they are the things that make them up. They may be more than, but we try to bring them down to 10. Now, what are they? One is competence. As a professional teacher, you must have good knowledge, skills, and attitude mastery of the technical and pedagogical aspect of whatever course or whatever subject you are teaching. In this aspect is agriculture. It could be chemistry, it could be biology, it could be any course, but there must be mastery of the knowledge, the skills to demonstrate practicals to your students, and then the values, the attitude you have to that subject, and the methodology of passing that information. So anybody who is not trained in the methodology, the pedagogical aspect of teaching, is not a teacher and cannot practice professionalism. So you must have the competence in both technical area and the pedagogical area. So it is not just to get the job done, but to get it done well. Knowledge upgrading. It is very important for you to practice professionalism in teaching profession. You have to be updating your knowledge. Teachers update their knowledge. It's part of professionalism. There is nothing as constant as changes. What is current today may not be current tomorrow. So as soon as you stop updating your knowledge, you become irrelevant and you cannot practice, you cannot exhibit professionalism in teaching profession. Nemo dat quod non habet is a Latin proverb which says that no one gives out what one does not have. You cannot give out what one does, what you do not have. If you don't upgrade your knowledge and there's changes in the system, you cannot teach. So for a teacher, whether in the secondary school, primary school, or tertiary institution, to be using the same lecture note year in out for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, you have not updated your lecture note. You are not practicing, you are not exhibiting professionalism at all. Conscientiousness. You have to take care. In teaching profession, teachers take care to plan their lessons, organize, implement, evaluate, and report their duties carefully and correctly. That is professionalism. Anything teachers do, they take time to do it. And they do it reliably. They set their own standard to achieve it at the appropriate time. So there is need for consciousness. There is need for conscientiousness in teaching profession, and teachers exhibit it. Integrity or honesty. This is the quality of having strong moral principles. Teachers are disciplined human beings. In teaching profession, they are a set of people that are disciplined. Anyone who is not disciplined is not a professional teacher and cannot be practicing professionalism in his profession. You must be disciplined. You cannot compromise your values, even when it means taking a hard road. You cannot. And that is what distinguishes teachers from other professions. Accountability. Now, it is very important that for you to exhibit professionalism in teaching profession, you should be accountable to all the words, all the thoughts, all the activities you exhibit to the students in the classroom, even outside the classroom, in the school and outside the school. At every point in time, teachers understand and know whatever they say. They know why they say what they say, and they know how to say it. If they don't know how to say it, that's what we call a manner of approach. There are ways you can approach issues or present issues, and people will misinterpret it. So teachers are accountable to whatever they do. To practice professionalism in teaching profession, accountability is a component, is a strong component. So any word you are using before the students, you should be able to know the meaning and the implication. And that is professionalism in teaching. Respect. This is not just to respect human beings. No, it is to have a strong feeling, a feeling of strong admiration for the job teaching, for the profession teaching, to know that the teaching is important. That is why we say that you should know that in teaching profession, what you are doing is to help yourself and help others succeed. So teachers should know that any day they are not in the school or they refuse to do what they are supposed to do, they are not helping others to succeed. And that is not part of profession. It is not professionalism in any aspect. That is why we say you do not choose teaching profession just because it is a means to getting a job or salary. But it is a profession that will help you and also help your clients become useful to the society. If you know that a teacher is to help people become useful in the society, you will practice professionalism very well in teaching profession. That's why I have been propagating, I have been hypothesizing, I have been putting forward that the name of our profession, education, should be changed. Maybe Faculty of Education or Colleges of Education should be changed to Faculty of Human Engineering or Colleges of Human Engineering. In engineering, what they do is that they can get iron, they know how to mold it, and they start pumping water from the ground. The same iron and the same wire, the same metals, they construct and they start giving us electricity. The same metals they construct, they change it, and they start giving us locomotion. They start moving, locomotive engines and different. So also teachers, you will see that teachers produce seminarians. They produce reverend fathers. They produce pastors. They produce doctors. So they put them in their thinking so that they start behaving that way. They also produce teachers who think like teachers to help others. There are people who are there to look at your physical activities. These are engineering every aspect of human being. So I'm thinking that teaching is not just to distinguish even education from other aspects of teaching and learning, that Faculty of Agriculture, Faculty of Education or College of Education should be changed to Faculty or Colleges of Human Engineering. We are still propagating that. Emotional intelligence. This is the capacity to understand, control, and express one's emotion. And what is your emotion? You have a strong feeling of love, fear, or anger at a particular situation. Teachers have the capacity to understand their emotion, to understand their fears, the love they have for children, to understand their anger. Anytime they are annoyed in the class, teachers understand that. So if a teacher lacks the emotional intelligence, definitely you cannot practice professionalism, because sometimes you may lose your temper and descend on students. In that case, they will start avoiding you. So for teachers to practice professionalism, even under pressure, they still exhibit that attitude of professionalism, self-control, and the need to help others. Appropriateness. At every point in time, the teachers should know what they do, and they know it and they do it. They should know what is suitable for the students, for the society, what is acceptable to the society, what is correct, the correct thoughts and actions at a particular circumstances. In the school, they know. That's why when students behave, they tell them, look at what you are doing, look at the implication. That is professionalism. Knowing the right thing to do, knowing what is appropriate in different situations. That's why they use different curves for different students, knowing that students are unique in their ways. So this appropriateness, we just need to understand what is acceptable. Sometimes we claim we do not know, but I assure you that God has given us all we need on earth to excel. He has put the mechanism in our body for checking any action that is not good. We use our brain to think, our head. We use our hand to exhibit actions, to manipulate certain things, but our heart is where the controller is. Anytime we want to do something that is wrong, that is bad, that is not acceptable by the society, our heart will jump, adrenaline will secrete in our body, and our heart will start beating highly, telling you that what you are doing is wrong. But people do not understand that that is a machine that God has made for us to control our things and do what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. After all, God said it. My commandment is no longer written on the tablets of stones, but on the heart of every man. Confidence and effective communication skills. We have said, nemo that quod non habet, which means that no one gives out what one does not have. If the teachers lack confidence in what they do, if they do not believe and trust in their ability, they should not expect students to trust and believe in what they are teaching them. So, and again, if you are a teacher and you do not know how to communicate effectively in writing and in speaking, face-to-face or through writing, you have to go back and that's part of it. No matter how intelligent you are and you are not able to effectively communicate to the students and the society through writing or through face-to-face orally, that you cannot exhibit professionalism in teaching profession. Lastly is imagery. Every profession has a particular image. It has a common or known image and the impression that it gives to the public. The public already know it. And the society expects you to behave in that way. No matter how intelligent you are, no matter what you do in the classroom, yet you are not able to wear the aura, the impression, the image that the society expects from you as a teacher, you are not getting it. So it is not only what you have, the skills, the knowledge, also the values. And that value you have for your profession will make you to wear that image that the society wants you to wear. The society expects a teacher to be a model. In terms of dressing, in terms of listening skills, there are people when they are, if you're not a good listener, you cannot listen to your students to speak, ask questions. So they lead by examples like having confidence, respect for others, and law abiding. So if you are a teacher, a professional teacher, and you are not law abiding, you cannot be. So with this, you will know the components of teaching profession. Where do teachers exhibit professionalism in teaching profession? Where will they exhibit it for people to know? Where? Now, we may not understand it correctly if we don't trace our origin. And where our origin, where are we prepared for this teaching profession? We are prepared for teaching profession through teaching practice. So we need to go back and see what they ask us to do in teaching practice, because that is where they prepare us, give us what we are supposed to do. If we go to what people practice these days, the profession may be too noisy that we may not know where to exhibit our teaching profession. And let me give you an example, like in the field of medicine. Medical doctors are not trained to be maybe doing unnecessary abortion. But some will see it and take it. So if we go to the field to see what teachers are doing, we may see that the teachers may exhibit their professionalism even when students are taking exam, like examination malpractice, but it's not. So let's go to where we feel. And that is where we are going to give you these theories, this functional relationship of key stakeholders in teaching profession, in teaching practice program by Asogwa et al. 2020. They have a schema here that exhibits, that shows us the stakeholders. Let me start from the cooperating school. In the cooperating school, you have the head teacher, you have the subject or the cooperating teacher, and you have the learners. who are the pupils and the kindergarten or whatever, or the students. Now, in the university, you have the teaching practice coordinator, you have the teaching practice supervisors, and you have the university supervisors who make up the head of department, the deans of the college or faculty, and the school administration. Now, you have the community, the parents, the resource persons. Now, see where we are going so that you understand what we mean. Where are you supposed to exhibit your teaching profession? It is where you are prepared that you do it. You are, during teaching practice, teachers are prepared to, one, relationship during teaching practice. First of all, you go to school, establish a good relationship. So it is in establishment of good relationship with yourself, with your colleagues in the teaching profession, with your administration, with the community. That is one. Two, you are supposed to exhibit professionalism in research. Research. You have to be updating your knowledge. How you carry out your research. Subject mastery. Exhibit your professionalism in the knowledge, skills, and attitude you have in the particular subject. Chemistry, biology, agriculture, mathematics, English, and so on. Instruction. The planning, the organizing, the implementation, and the evaluation. These are the areas where you are expected to exhibit your professionalism. Classroom management, ethics, the moral principles that influence your teaching profession. Why the values are the beliefs, your belief, your behavior with regards to the moral principles expected in this profession. Then the co-curricular activities or extracurricular activities. Those things that are within the curriculum and those that are not within the curriculum. And the summative report to the university or college or school, let's say secondary school or a primary school. These are the areas where you are supposed to exhibit your professionalism. There may be plus, there may be minus. Now, how can you cultivate professionalism in teaching profession? One is self-evaluation. You have to evaluate yourself. And I recommend SWOT analysis for you. SWOT, try to understand your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats, and how you can overcome them. I also suggested that you can use SMART to overcome any weakness or any threat. And that will help you to cultivate professionalism in teaching profession. We have talked about research, search relevant literature, carry out research and consider on-the-job training. Just know that you have not arrived. Being employed as a teacher does not mean that you have arrived. You have just finished to begin. So you have to begin at every point in time. Then relationship. We have talked about relationship. Build professional, cordial relationship with your colleagues. This will enable you to ask questions where you need to, where you don't understand. It will also enable you to work in a team. Team working is very important. A tree cannot make a forest. Productivity. You need to ensure that whatever you are doing produces a desired result. That is productivity. If what you are doing does not produce a desired result, you have not done. So try to evaluate whatever you are doing to ensure. And competency improvement. With the research, you continue to update your knowledge for you to cultivate professionalism in teaching profession. Now concentrate and manage your time effectively. Concentrate. There are people who are distracted. A dog hunting two animals always succeeds in killing none. And the Bible says that you cannot serve two masters equitably at a time. There are people who have other businesses and they still have teaching profession. Tell yourself the truth. One must be suffering. And in most cases, when we are employed by the government because we may not have a good administrator who will check on us continuously, the students will suffer. Remember, teaching profession is just about helping others to succeed. And if you succeed and you don't help others to succeed, you have not achieved anything. It is all about sustainability. Manage your time, establish priorities, know which one is first. It's just about helping others. When you are good to others, you are better to yourself. You have to be innovative. Personality development. At a certain stage in teaching profession, a time will come when you are supposed to pick up something. There are some things you may not have seen in documents, you have not seen anybody who practiced it, but out of your experience, you begin to try some other ways to solve a particular problem or bridge some gaps. And with that, you can develop yourself. So then you have to be law, rules, and regulation abiding. Read every document to understand what the law of your profession says, the rules and regulation guiding your profession. If you do not know the rules and regulation, you may be acting out of context. So pick up the regulations to read it and have it at your fingertips. Politeness and kindness. Now, we have talked about the manner of approach. Sometimes we speak to our students the way they do not like. It's a matter of approach. I can still tell you that you don't know what I'm saying without insulting you. I must not tell you that you don't know it before I teach you what I want to teach you. So in whichever way we want to go, we must be polite. Otherwise, no matter how intelligent you are, no matter how the level of knowledge you possess, no matter how you can display or dissipate your skills, no matter how you value your profession, and you are not polite, definitely the students will start avoiding you. If you are a good referee and you are not given a football pitch to display your talent or your skill, you are not a referee. If you are a medical doctor and patients are running away from you, no matter how intelligent you are no longer. So try to learn how to cultivate politeness in approaching issues, in attending to students, in relating with fellow human beings. Be kind always to people and understand that kindness begets kindness. People will learn more when they know that you are kind to them. But do not, every kindness has limitation. You will not, because of your kindness, go out of the boundary to help students into examination malpractices. We have talked about emotional intelligence, the capacity to understand your emotion. Is a practice. Everybody who has a weakness. You put it into practice, you begin to learn how to control your emotion. You should know your fears, your love. If you are a type that a man, you start shaking when you are in your office alone with a woman, you see how to avoid it. You can open your door up. You can always open your door when attending to female students. It's a coping strategy, provided you cultivate this professionalism in your profession. You cannot claim that you do not have weakness. You cannot. Demonstrate integrity at every point in time. Integrity, honesty. Whatever you say, mean it. Know what you say. Even when there is a mistake in what you do, own up the mistake. Because you cannot solve a problem with the same level of knowledge that you had when you created the problem. You cannot solve a problem with the same level of knowledge you had when you created the problem. So having understood that is a mistake, it means you have learned something. So own up your words. Whatever mistake you make, own it up. That's what I want you to know. That's what I want you to understand. So integrity is very important here. And let me share with you a little story that a student asked a question here about integrity. Now, during teaching practice, there was a student who was teaching. I'll give you an example in our area, in my area, agricultural education. A student was to teach crop rotation. And instead of teaching the students crop rotation, he started teaching them land rotation. Unfortunately, the supervisor was there with the cooperating teacher in the school. And the cooperating teacher quickly took over to correct that mistake. Later, the student, student teacher, the practicing teacher, instead of owning up his mistake, picked it as an offense that why should he correct him before the students? Oh, which means he does not understand what is teaching profession. You need to take up your mistake. You need to own it up. That's what we are trying to say. He does not understand what is teaching profession. If you understand that teaching profession, sometimes a mistake made by a teacher is like a mistake made by a pharmacist in a manufacturing company. Sometimes a mistake made by a teacher is like a mistake made by a medical doctor in the theater. So you want me, I saw the student, I was asking the student, so you want the teacher to keep quiet so that at the end you will correct and you come back and correct. If you are a medical doctor in a theater and you are being trained on how to operate on someone's eyes, and you are cutting some nerves that will cause blindness to that person, you want the medical doctor, your teacher, to keep quiet so that when you finish cutting the person's eyes, he will now come and tell you to correct it. You don't know the implication. He has to come in there and correct it so that the students do not go out with that mistake. How can you be there and the student is teaching that 2 + 2 instead of 4 is 4.5, and you want the supervisor to keep quiet? Don't you know that the presence of the supervisor authenticates whatever information you give to students at that particular period of time? So the students will find it difficult to believe tomorrow. They will even say that when this teacher taught us, the supervisor was there, and even the cooperating teacher was there, which means what he taught us is valid and cannot be removed from them. How do you then manage that mistake? And a mistake made by a teacher has a multiplier effect. A mistake made by a pharmacist in the manufacturing company on any drug has a multiplier effect, because when the drug is out, it kills a lot of people. So when a teacher makes a mistake, it has a multiplier effect because the student will continue to teach others in that form. So that's all about integrity. It's about humility. Humble yourself and learn at every point in time. Students' uniqueness. Understand that every student is unique, just like every teacher. The cup you use to measure for James may not be the same cup you use to measure for Mohammed. So just know that you have individuality in human beings. Most of things we do in teaching profession is individualistic. You can teach them in a group, but when they do not understand, you change your method. Every profession has stress. We're talking of stress management. Every profession, you must have stress in it, just like teaching. If you don't understand it, you must have stress. You better ask questions how others are doing it, especially when you are new in the profession, so that you cultivate professionalism in it. Teaching is very enjoyable if you understand the techniques, the technicalities in it, and the way, the channels through which things move. You will not have problem, and that will reduce your stress. But I recommend that you read more about rational emotive behavioral therapy. Rational emotive behavioral therapy. You read about it, it has ABC framework, and that will help you to plan your work and work your plan. We have cultural intelligence. For you to be a professional teacher, you should understand that every culture has its own peculiarity. So you should be careful of what is obtainable in that culture. If all the students go to market in a particular day, whatever you do, it becomes difficult. You should know how to plan yourself to accommodate the culture of the society where your school is or where you are employed. We talk of cultural intelligence. Now, training and confidence. Understand that you as a teacher have been trained to be a teacher. That training alone gives you confidence to teach students what you want to teach students. Irrespective of whenever you join the profession. Don't say, I am young in the profession. Do not. The training gives you confidence. It makes you to believe that whatever you have been told is correct. So whatever you give to the students at that time, the school who trained you and certified you as a teacher has empowered you. With that training alone, teach students with confidence, irrespective of when you are joining the system. Because the old age of Methuselah has nothing to do with the wisdom of Solomon. We have said it. The time at which the Pepsi was manufactured does not add anything to the content of the Pepsi. So since you have been trained, that you are young in the system has nothing to do with professionalism. You have to cultivate the habit, but do not fail to understand that experience is the best teacher, so that you can learn from those who are more experienced than you are. Work habit. Every work has its own habit. It has its own channel. It has its own way. Sometimes, even when you sit in an office, the way you sit may give you discomfort. Some people have been to hospital because of sitting posture, because of their work habit. So you need to manage, you need to cultivate the habit. Ask others how they are managing this work habit. Ask questions. Professional image. We have talked about professional image. Understand what is in your profession. The mode of dressing, the way they keep to rules and regulation, work hour, when they come to school and when they leave. When you are supposed to be in the school system and you are found in the beer parlor drinking, or you are found in the market doing business in your shop, you cannot cultivate professionalism. So you should know that. So I feel that with this, if you are able to put this into practice, you can cultivate professionalism. Assignment, which is not meant to be submitted, is on this. I just saw this quote by Bodha, no date. The author said, your worst enemy is your best teacher. Your worst enemy is your best teacher. Do you agree? If you do or do not, prove how. That is your assignment as we continue to think. But if you look down here, you see what I have here, I say, a good teacher is like a candle whose burning is professionalism. A good teacher is like a candle whose burning is professionalism. If the candle is not burning, it cannot be candle. It is when it gives us light. So candle cannot be complete until it start giving you light. You cannot be a professional teacher until you start demonstrating the competence in your profession. And remember to update, because the life of a professional teacher is like an airplane. If it stops flying, it will drop. Not it drops, not it will drop. If it stops flying, it drops. The summary I have here, you will see it, but I will summarize here with a quotation from a Holy Bible, which is Matthew chapter 7, verse 7 to 8. And it says, ask, and it will be given to you. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and the door will be open to you. For everyone who asks receives, the one who seeks finds, and to the one who knocks, the door will be opened. In your teaching profession, I wish you can ask questions to cultivate the habit of professionalism. I wish you can seek knowledge to cultivate the habit of professionalism. I wish you can practice to understand and be a professional teacher. The bibliographies are here, and our email is here. If you wish to communicate us, do so that we can use your feedback for improvement. Thank you, and God bless you.